Hey everyone, welcome back to another Sacred Sunday. Today, I wanted to share with you some of my perspective and some of the things that I've witnessed over time around the teachings of the law of attraction. I do understand that this is one of those hermetic principles, and that underneath it, and as a part of that law explained, that it does make sense from a standpoint of, just frequency and vibration and things like that. But I want to share some of the issues that I have with the law of attraction and why I think it's erroneously touted or practiced for most people. And I'll explain as I go along. So, years ago, I watched the movie The Secret. And I mean, this has been multiple decades ago now at this point. And I remember witnessing and listening to this whole idea and this concept of the law of attraction. And to be quite honest, this is like early 2000s. It was the first time I had ever heard of the law of attraction, and I guess heard it taught the way that it was. And I remember having conversations with other people about, the power of the law of attraction after watching that movie. And I remember that there was just this buzz on around some of the people I was connected to that was just like, wow, we can attract all of these things into our life just by focusing our attention and all of these things and, thinking about it and, feeling these feelings and all of this stuff. And I don't have any challenge with that necessarily. I think what I saw happen over time and what I feel like has happened, especially around the word manifestation, which kind of just gets lumped in with the law of attraction automatically, is that there's this sense of that if I do certain things, I can pull things into my experience. And that was, at least for me at the beginning, the way that I really understood it, that I was like pulling things into my life. And so I immediately began to go to work on becoming magnetic. Anybody else ever heard someone talk to you about becoming magnetic so you could pull things into your life? Well, I started doing things like that. And guess what? There were things that came into my life because I was practicing this mental work of being magnetic. And I didn't really understand magnetism truly. And so I was using the power of my mind, which guess what? Because we have power in our minds, we can manipulate this outer experience. That's what we're doing actually all day long. And so I began to have some experiences that were more like what I wanted to experience. But the problem was I couldn't hold on to them very long. They would come and then they would go, and then they would, almost evaporate as soon as they got into my experience. And I kept on trying to pull things in. I'm going to become magnetic. I'm going to attract these things. And there was this piece that I was really missing. And it had been said, it wasn't like it wasn't said, but I think a lot of people miss this piece. And the piece was that you have to be in your frequency, the thing that you're desiring to express out here in the outer world. And, kind of got thrown around. It just became another hot topic, that you just need to be love, be light, be abundance, be all these things. But people really did not have a grasp of what that meant. They really did not have an understanding of how to be that thing. And so again, it was just more force. It was just more manipulation, mostly with mental and emotional frequency or power, however you want to describe that. So it's kind of like if you've ever seen or heard a story of someone playing the lottery and they win the lottery. And then within a few years, they're completely bankrupt. Well, what happened? What happened was maybe it was luck. And I'm just going to throw that out there. I know that that's not really what's going on, but let's just pretend. Okay. So maybe it was a chance situation. Maybe it was just a lucky situation. Maybe they were using the power of the law of attraction and drawing that experience into them. I do believe that we can do those things. However, because they had not become the multimillionaire or the billionaire in their beingness, what does that mean? Because they had not actually expanded their consciousness enough to be the person who is already the millionaire or the billionaire, when the money came, it quickly began to evaporate or collapsed their life altogether. A lot of people suffered great tragedy after winning the lottery. You can read about these stories. where people lost everything. Some of them even lost their own lives in the process of all this, So why is that? It was because they had not become the consciousness that was able to hold that kind of money. Okay. That's just one example. But how many times have you drawn to you like a relationship? You really wanted a certain relationship, you drew it to you, and it felt like this was the right one. And then it just went kaput. Like you just couldn't hold on to it. Something happened and it fell apart. There are all these different ways that we can attract things into our life with our own mental power and with our will, right? We just dig in and we will it into existence. The problem is that the law of attraction, it does state that like frequency is drawn to itself. So if there are two frequencies that are alike, they'll be drawn together and they will create a greater sense of resonance. I love that Michael Bernard Beckwith talks about not the law of attraction. He says, forget the law of attraction. He talks about the law of resonance and says, whatever I am, that's what shows up in my life. And that is so much more accurate. I really like to think of it as this law of revealing, right? So we're not attracting, we're not pulling things into our experience. We can do that. The problem is that the consequences are usually too big for us to actually manage. So rather than trying to pull things into our experience with all of our power to become magnetic, we begin to understand that as we begin to sync up internally, right? As we begin to tighten up, and I'm talking about in the field of infinite intelligence within us, and that vortex that is us inside really starts to come in and get really close and tight because we are deepening into who we really are. That what then happens is that we begin to reveal all of these wonderful possibilities. We don't pull them into our experience, we let them out. We let them out of us, right? That's why I love to think of it as this law of revelation, this law of revealing. It's that my life is constantly revealing what I believe I am, or who I believe I am, what I believe I'm worthy of, right? My life is constantly revealing that. And that's what's really going on for everyone. Even if they're having these encounters and going, man, this thing happened to me. The reason I don't like that idea and concept of the law of attraction is it still makes people be victim to whatever happens in their life. And they go, I must have attracted that to me. I must have called that into my life. It's like, actually, no, it came out of you, right? It's coming from you. You are the center of your own universe. You are the center of your world. And so whatever is happening in your life is coming out of you. It's not coming toward you. It's literally being birthed out of you and revealing itself to you in your world. And why this is so much more powerful to me is because this puts you in the position of absolute control. Now, you may be thinking, well, we don't have control. There's other forces. It's like, no, your mind is the tool that you use to actually form and shape your world, specifically through your imagination. And so when you begin to really practice that and you begin to understand it at a deeper level, you stop seeing things that happen in your life as either an attack, or that it's coming from some foreign entity, or that it's coming from the devil, or that it's coming from some evil, or that it's coming from some person who's against you. And you start to realize, oh my gosh, this is all coming out of me because of who I really believe I am. This is the level of my consciousness. When you look around at your life, you can look at your home, your car, your job, your money, your relationships. You can look at your joy, your health. You can look at your peace. You can look at all of these things and go, this is what I believe about myself. I believe I'm the person who has this life, who lives this way, who has these relationships, who goes to this kind of job. That's who I believe I am. I could change that at any moment and something else would be born out of me, right? So that's really the issue I have with the law of attraction, is that we don't need to be working to pull things into us, because then we feel the need to hold them up with our magnetic power. And the way we become ultra magnetic is by relaxing, letting go of the need to hold so many things, and begin to understand that we are this fountain of miraculous energy, that it literally bursts out of us all around us in a field of quantum intelligence all day long. And it's carrying inside of it infinite possibilities. And we get to select the possibility that we would like to see manifest in our life. And we then allow that possibility to come through us. And then life perfectly positions us to have the right connection, to meet the right people, the right conversation, and all the perfect scenarios come together and outpicture a condition that's actually coming from within us, because we are the source of all that is expressing itself in our life. So I just want to share that with you. I hope that helps you to stop feeling so much like you've got to pull things into your space, but rather you've got to let things out of you. You've got to let things express out of you, and then they're going to manifest themselves just like a baby being born. It comes out of a mother's womb. She doesn't draw the baby in and pull the baby into her space. She lets that baby out, and then that baby is expressed, and everyone gets to enjoy the birth of this beautiful, glorious child. That's what's happening in your life. So that's it for today. I will be back next week with another bit of information